shit, cops are here. No, just kidding, guys. Asthma Puffers aren't banned or illegal. But yeah, so I was very cautious making this video. I wasn't sure whether this was going to be helpful or, you know, definitely could be taken in the wrong way. So if you're watching this video, please watch it the whole way through so you can get my entire opinion on the matter. Because yeah, I can see how this could be sort of twisted or seen negatively. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the use of Asthma Puffers in pro cycling and potentially lower levels of the sport. But before I get into discussing that, I just want to set clear the legality around use of particularly salbutamol, which is the main asthma puffer, the Ventolin thing. So at the moment, I'm making this video in September 2021. So if you're watching this video and it's not September 2021, you need to go and look this up for yourself. Do not take my word for it. WADA changes their rules all the time. So you need to check this before yourself so that the context is right. But at the moment, in the sport of cycling, the use of asthma puffers up to a certain limit can be used by anyone. You don't need a TUE, you don't need to have asthma, they're free to use. So look, jumping onto the laptop here, ASMAC, which is Australian Sports Drug Medical Advisory Committee, put out this sheet which sums it up pretty well. So beta-2 agonists, of which salbutamol is one, are generally prohibited except in certain scenarios. And the one here that's relevant is salbutamol, and it says inhaled salbutamol is permitted up to a maximum dose of 16 puffs in 24 hours or 8 puffs in every 12-hour period. So right now in Australia, as a cyclist, I can get an asthma inhaler. These are available. You don't need a prescription as well. You don't need to have asthma. You can just go to the chemist, go to the pharmacist, ask them for a Ventolin inhaler, and they'll probably give you one, no questions asked. So you're allowed to do that legally. So let's have a look at what's popped up and its use in pro cycling. A couple of articles come to mind. This one was nearly 4 years ago. Actually, I'll go to the one by Willie Smith first. So this is a recent one. Great article on Cycling Weekly by Willie Smith. It's really interesting. So a lot of different topics discussed. I know a lot of riders paying to be in teams. Interesting. Take there. So lots and lots of stuff in this article. I highly encourage you to go and have a read through for yourself. But he does get to the topic of asthma puffers further down. So here it is. He talks about some cortisone, some other drugs, but the one here, he says, if you were to walk onto any team bus, everyone has asthma inhalers. It's just the new norm. If they tell you it's not like that, they're talking bullshit. So I've never been on a pro cycling team bus, but Willie Smith says if you go into any well-to-a team bus, that pretty much everyone's using asthma inhalers. Okay, we can take that. Then another article here where it got mentioned. Now this was nearly 4 years ago. So this is Tim Wellens talking about it. Now first thing to sort of rule out is the whole Froome thing. I think this conflates the issue because Froome got busted with salbutamol, but it was above the dose you're allowed. So that's not what I'm talking about here. The whole Froome thing is not relevant. That's not what I'm talking about. That's obviously banned. So let's just disregard that for now. What I'm talking about is just, a regular puffer. And then we've got here, let me read through this. So he says, Wellens, who received widespread praise after abandoning last year's Tour de France, rather than taking otherwise banned medicine under a TUE, I'm not sure what they're referring to there, what drug they're referring to, revealed that doctors had told him he could increase his lung capacity by 7 or 8% if using an inhaler. I kind of disagree with that. I'll get onto if it actually improves performance a bit later. So there's that sentence. Then he says, I'm against inhalers. I don't want to improve my breathing by 7% in that way. Okay, we'll get onto that. And I believe that once you start using an inhaler, afterwards you don't know how to live without one. I refuse to be dependent on this kind of thing. Clearly, I'm clearly against them, but lots of people use them. If the public knew how many riders use an inhaler, it's enormous. So this article is from 2018 and he's saying that. And also he says, Wellens was asked whether the issue of inhalers was openly discussed with his teammates or whether it was a private matter, with riders keeping them hidden in their jersey pockets. He replied, no, riders don't hide their inhalers. They're not embarrassed. But yes, we often have discussions on the team bus. So the first thing there, I'm not sure this sort of, it's just an asthma puffer. It's not banned. It's not illegal. You're allowed to use it. So I'm not sure that the idea that riders, what they're inferring here is that riders should sort of be hiding it or be shamed to be using it. I don't agree. They're not doing anything wrong. It's not banned. Now, you could have a personal sort of disagreement with it, but personally, Tim Wellens here has decided he doesn't want to use them, and that's his personal choice. My personal opinion is it's not that much different than if you get if you got a bit of a sore knee, you take ibuprofen, or you got a headache, you take Panadol. I mean, no one's sort of hiding their Panadol use. So I mean, at the moment, the way it stands, they're not banned, so I don't see that much difference. I'm not sure that this whole idea that riders should be shamed for it is productive. So he's chosen not to use it, but he said it is widespread. So does it actually improve performance? Now, I'll get onto my experience having tried it out because I was curious, but looking at some of the research on it, does Asthma Puffers at the dose that you're allowed to take, which is relatively low, 8 puffs every 12 hours, does that improve performance? Research shows probably not. So effects of inhaled salbutamol in exercising non-asthmatic athletes, they found it's not significant in improving performance. That was sort of the consensus I could find, and probably the main reason why WADA don't ban it is because, firstly, it's very important if you do get exercise-induced asthma, it's important that you have easy access to an asthma puffer and not worried about potentially getting stung for it, because asthma is very dangerous. If you're having an asthma attack, you could die if you don't have an asthma puffer. So I think the fact that it doesn't improve performance, that it's also relatively safe, there's not many side effects, and that how important the drug is, that's probably why they're still allowing that small level in your system without getting done for it. Other study here was looking at can beta-2 agonists, so of which salbutamol is one, improve various measures of performance. They sort of found that possibly it can improve anaerobic performance, but it's uncertain at the doses. So it is uncertain, however, whether the wider approved doses of beta-2 agonists improve performance. Again, so based on the science, it doesn't really appear that low-level doses improve performance. But having used one, I was curious about it, and considering it's not banned, I wanted to give it a go, so I bought a puffer and did some sessions using it. You can feel a difference, especially in the cold, and really maximal effort sessions where you're breathing really heavily. It feels a lot different. You can notice, you can definitely tell a difference mentally when you've had it. Hey guys, so I'm editing the video and I realized I didn't probably explain what it feels like when I say you can feel a difference. So just all it does is it opens up your airway. So especially in the cold, when you're breathing very heavily, it just makes you feel like instead of breathing through a tube, it kind of makes it feel like you're breathing through like a fire hose. It just opens up your airway so your breathing feels easier. That's what I mean when I say you can feel a difference. I would say there'd be a strong placebo effect, definitely. And if it was cold weather and I was a pro athlete and I was going and doing like a time trial, I would want to be using a Ventolin inhaler if it wasn't banned. You can feel a difference. So science says it doesn't improve performance. From my experience, I'd sort of disagree. I kind of feel like there is some benefit, probably in improving performance based on how it feels. It is. I kind of agree with Tim Wellens on one sentence here. So Tim Wellens' article, he sort of said, here, I refuse to be dependent on this kind of thing, therefore I'm clearly against them. I kind of agree with that. It's like an addictive thing. Once you start using something and then you want to use it every ride, and then suddenly it's like you can't ride without it. So it's a very good point there, in that he refuses to use it because he doesn't want to become dependent on it. I think that's, it's up to the individual. If an individual wants to use it and is smart enough to not become dependent on it, then I think that's fair enough. In terms of should it be banned, should it not be banned? I think it would be good if it was banned. If they just did a blanket ban and said, look, if you have asthma, go get a TUE. That would still be a grey area, but at least it would mean you not just have random pro cyclists going and buying asthma puffers like I did and then being able to use them. So, I don't think anyone should just be able to use them if they don't have asthma. So, my opinion, it should. I kind of agree with Tim Wellens on that, and that it should be banned. And you should need to have asthma to use it. That's not the current state of the rules at the moment. So, interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Do you think they should be banned? Or is it important for a safety reason to have to allow people to run that lower level of 8 puffs every 12 hours just for a safety reason? So if someone is having an asthma attack, they're not worried about using a puffer. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.